G'day friends, how are you? G'day Brodie, how are you?
Benny, how are you, my friend?
Good on you, mate.
Going well?
Thank you.
It's great to be here at the humble abode. If it wasn't 3 degrees, I'd be jumping in your spa and pool out the back there, mate, but it's that cold in Melbourne, it's ridiculous.
I know, how cold was it today?
Mate, freezing, absolutely freezing. I'm from Tassie, so that's saying something. Yeah.
So I thought we'd just have a bit of a chat with Brodie, and most people know a bit of your story, so we'll just sort of talk about how you got started and all that sort of jazz. So can we start start from sort of the beginning? So you grew up in Tasmania.
Yep.
And then at what point did you identify with footy, or what happened?
Yeah, so look, I played state footy from when I was 15 through to 17, so I played 3 years of state footy. I was probably identified fairly early in the piece because I was so young, playing under 18s in the national.
What was your big? Were you a good kick, or what was it?
Look, I was a pretty neat kick. I was a goal kicking midfielder, so I was a state captain. So from a leadership point of view, which they're big at looking at AFL level now as well. So I was a fairly well balanced player. I wasn't tall, so that probably worked against me a little bit. But I was a possession getting on baller that could kick goals, basically. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So when I was 17, I was lucky enough to get drafted. In those days, each team could pick one. Bless you, mate. Each team could choose one 17-year-old. So I was only 17 when I got drafted off to Fremantle Dockers, which I had no idea that was going to happen.
So can I sort of? That would have been a massive change to go from Tasmania all the way to.
Yeah, it was a big change. Obviously, I knew if I was going to get drafted, though, I knew the mindset was I was going to have to move regardless because I was from Tasmania, whereas some of the Victorians think they're going to get drafted. So sometimes for the Victorians, it can be a bit more of a shock because they want to leave home.
Yep.
But I always knew I was going to have to travel regardless. It would have been easier to come to Melbourne straight away, but 17, over to Perth, big trip. Obviously going from a climate like Tassie to Perth was a fair shift going.
So did they move you into like a house with other...
Yeah, I actually stayed with Teresa Burton, who was, I don't know if you remember Matthew Burton, Spider Burton.
Oh, yeah,
he was a big 7 foot tall ruckman. I stayed with his mum for a year, and she looked after me for a year from 17 till I was nearly 19. Then my mum and dad moved over for a working holiday for 12 months, and I moved in with them for 12 months. I lived with Jess Sinclair and Trent Carroll, 2 other players, for 12 months as well. So I sort of did a bit of everything while I was there, and lasted 3 years.
Wow. Yeah. So then what happened when you say lasted 3 years?
Yeah, so I had a pretty ordinary year in my 3rd season at Fremantle Dockers, and which led to me being traded off to Collingwood, which was in the end a great move. I sort of wanted it. Fremantle wanted it, and I wanted it, so it was going to happen regardless, and it was just a matter of where, basically. Yeah.
So then, how did you find out that you were going to Collingwood?
I just got called by Jared McNeil, who was a football manager at the time of the Fremantle Footy Club, and just said, it's that time of the year, no hard feelings, we want to trade you. See you later, basically. But look, I sort of knew it was coming, and I was sort of under the impression it was going to happen as well, but when it actually did happen, when it was in my face, I was like, shit, do I want this to happen?
Yeah.
And it was a scary moment because it's a big move. I've already just become settled after 3 years in
your parents over there?
Yeah, mum and dad were there, etc. So that was tough, but I got a call from James Clement, who was at the Fremantle Dockers at the time as well, and we were going to be in the same trade. You see, so he goes, "Come on, Dutchy, let's do this. We have a chance to go to Fremantle, who were one of the bottom teams with no money back then, really, to Collingwood, who weren't going great as a club in terms of." At that particular time, but were known as one of the most famous clubs in the land, not just in footy, but in sporting in general. And he goes, mate, let's just get there and do this. So when he said that, I listened and I got pretty excited from that moment onwards, and basically said, yeah, let's do it. Okay.
So then do you come over and live with other people again, or was that?
This time I came, initially I stayed with Scott Burns, who was one of the prime midfielders at Collingwood, and ended up being captain a little bit later on in the piece. Stayed with him for a few months till I found my feet, and then moved out with a friend after that. Okay. Yeah.
So tell us, what was one of your highlights playing for Collingwood?
Probably my first Anzac Day game was a big highlight.
Just
massive crowd, just a huge buzz. You know, the hair on the back of your neck does actually stand up. When they say that, it does actually stand up, and the goosebumps.
Yeah.
I still remember at 3/4 time siren. I think Essendon and Collingwood were even, around about even, or one point up. 3/4 time, the siren's gone to start the last quarter, and everyone's just gone, ah, and I've just gone, and I've literally just goosebumps, and I'm just looking around, thinking, where am I? This is crazy. That was a great moment. Playing in the AFL Grand Final that whole week was just amazing. In 2003, it was a big week in my career. We got walloped on the Saturday, which is unfortunate by 10 goals, but it was a great week, and something I'll always cherish. And probably, you know, the day I kicked eight goals in a game, which was a very lucky day. It just all happened for me that day. But that was probably, you know, from an independent point of view. Yeah. A personal point of view, that was probably my best day on field that I'll remember forever as well, because I knew that wasn't going to happen ever again after that.
Not many people can say the kick a goal, let alone name.
Yeah, so that was a good moment. But yeah, AFL Grand Final was fantastic, you know, and it was sad to leave when it all finished up, but I was pretty happy to do what I have done.
Yeah. So tell me, I hope you don't mind me asking this, so when it was time, I know personally, but what happened? How did that come about?
Oh, look, it was sort of, the writing was on the wall, because what happened in 2005 and 6 were probably my two best years that I've ever had. But through 2006, I missed 6 weeks in the middle of the year with an Achilles injury. At the end of that year, I wanted to go in for an operation, and they said, no. I actually got suspended in the last game of the year, bumping someone high, and got 6 weeks suspension, which meant that they said, look, Brodie, you've got till basically mid-May next year to get this injury right. Let's just rest you for 6 months and then bring you back in slowly. So the option was to do that or have an operation. I wanted the operation, they pushed the rest. In hindsight, I should have got it operated on straight away. So I went through the whole next season, pretty much injured the whole year. Played maybe 2 or 3 games max. And then I finally got it operated after that next year, but it was all too late. Yeah. You know, that took me 6 months to get over. By the time I got it all back, it was, you know, round 15 that year, and then I broke my arm that year, and a Galeazzi fracture, which I broke my arm and dislocated at the same time with 3 rounds to go after that, and that was the end. And then I was 28, and I missed 2 years of footy and 2.5 years of footy. And it was just, you know, if I was key position, a big guy, and I was a bit younger, they would have kept me, but I was 28, you know, at the wrong end of the ledger in terms of age, and also, you know, it was, you know, I'd probably play that type of game that, you know, your body wears you down a bit. I played as a tagger for most of my career, and you bash and crash, and the body just didn't seem to be holding up, and that's what happened.
Tell me, and this is one of the things I really love, and it comes across about you a fair bit, that for you it's pretty normal, but for most people it's not. That must have been pretty hard to handle, with your body not being right, because I know you're competitive, I know the way you are, but your body not being, that must have been hard to handle.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard thing to sort of, I suppose, manage, because you are so competitive and you want to get back quick, and the coaches want you to get back quick. The doctors are trying to hold you back, and you're champing a bit to get out there. So, you know, in hindsight, looking back, I wish I had have gone, you know what, I know I'm ready, but I'm going to have another 3 weeks off. You know, but because you're so competitive, because you know your contract's on the line, because you know you've only got this many weeks, you've got to, you know, you get back out there, and the coaches are saying, why aren't you out there? Why aren't you doing this? And they really push you hard to get back out on the training track. And sometimes you just got to listen to what you think's right, not what you want to do, but what you think's right, and feel your body and know your body, and just, you know, make your body and make the decision, not your mind. And I didn't do that. I was just wanted to get out there and play, and I went out too early and didn't get it right, and in the end, that's what, you know, why the injuries come, and they come even worse. So that's a hard thing. But in hindsight, you know, looking back, if I had done it properly, you know, I might have hung around for another 2 or 3 years. But, you know, who knows?
So tell me, what does Brodie Holland do then after football? What happened?
Yeah, so after footy, basically, it was a big question mark on what am I going to do next. Look, there were some options in terms of coaching at AFL level. You know, Collingwood wanted me to stay on and do something in the area of fitness and development as a part-time coach. And I suppose at that moment I nearly felt like, you know, because I was a bit angry about, I suppose, you know, and upset about having to finish my career, I nearly felt like it was a sympathy thing at the time. So I just wanted to break away from that for a little while. And also there was, you know, a couple of little media things that were on offer, and I really didn't want to go down that path anymore. I wanted to go, okay, I want to do something different, something for myself, something outside of football that I can make my own. And that's when I started my own fitness and nutrition business, and got stuck into that. And yeah, look, I really enjoyed that. And Craig Schultz, who's the diamond director at Jeunesse, who we work with now, he had his own gyms, and he was a good friend of mine.
So that's how you met.
We started to become better friends through him giving the opportunity to build my business at his gym.
Okay.
So that's how that.
Big shout out to Schultzy.
Schultz man, how are you, buddy? Yeah, so that's how all that came about. But you know, I suppose for me, you know, I went through that, and I still do personal training every now and then now because I do love it.
Yeah.
And I love the nutrition side of things and what have you. But you know, the hours that I was putting in initially, and the hours where I was starting so early and finishing so late, became really debilitating for me in a sense.
Were you married then?
I got married pretty much straight after, yeah. So as soon as I finished, I got into my business, slowly started to build it up, then got married, went on a honeymoon for about 3 months and came back, and that's when I really got stuck into the business after that. Yeah. And
then tell me, how did you find your way into relationship marketing or network marketing?
Yeah, so how I got into relationship marketing, network marketing is just through Craig. So Craig had his own business at the gym, introduced me to a product, and I really loved the product that he introduced me to. And then what happened from there is he introduced me to the business. So initially I wasn't interested at all, very sceptical about, I suppose, direct sales, not products, because I actually knew there were a lot of good products in network marketing, direct sales, because I'd used some of them while I was playing football and got some great results. But I was more sceptical on whether you could actually make money in the industry. So that was where the roadblock was for me. Craig spent about 6 months trying to enrol me. And even though he's one of my very good friends and I trusted him probably as much as I trust my wife, I seriously was so sceptical whether or not you could earn income. And I just didn't know if I wanted to waste my time initially. But through persistence, through Craig, and I knew he had a great level of education, engineering degree, business, and I was a successful business person in general, and being a close mate, I wanted to be part of what he was part of, and he was starting to make some money, and I saw that happening, and I thought, you know what, this is a low-cost buy-in, high potential, and you know what, the hours I'm doing in personal training and nutrition at the moment are debilitating, and I just don't know how long I can sustain this lifestyle. So I was thinking that maybe this industry could give me what I want in terms of income and lifestyle. To suppose, simulate what I'd was doing in terms of income in football. I had some investments and I wanted to sustain those from football, and I was going through a period where if I stopped working personal training right now for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have to sell a property here, otherwise I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to, I suppose, break away from personal training, do less hours there and earn some income in another manner, and I saw network marketing as maybe the vehicle to help me do that.
Okay. Now, Brodie's known as Mr. Consistent because he's just always consistent. So tell people about when you got started. So how did you get started?
Yeah, so I got started with basically what happened was really I got back from my honeymoon early 2009, early to mid 2009. I said, Craig, mate, I'm ready for this, and I sort of shocked him because he thought I was out, I was gone, I was a lost cause, and it was really because I was on the honeymoon and I was living a great lifestyle. I was getting up whatever time I wanted to, sitting on the beach, in Europe, America, and it was just great. And I go, I'm going to have to go back, start at, next Monday, start at 4:30 in the morning, finish at 9:30 at night. Do I want to be doing that? Yes, I love what I was doing, but it's just hard, those hours. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back and tell Craig, yes, I'm in, and I'm going to give him 12 months of my life, and let's just see how it goes. And that's what we did, and we got involved, in the industry, and had a crack, and for 2.5 years did really well at that particular company, and we're I suppose within the sort of top 5 or 6 by the time we finished there, top 5 or 6 earners, both of us, within that company.
So tell us about how did the relationship with Bakes come about, Stephen Baker? How did that? Tell us about that.
Yeah,
He's a wildcat.
It was an interesting story, and he tells it much better than I can. Yeah, he's much funnier than I. But we actually sat down with 4 St Kilda players, Craig and I, to talk about the opportunity to get involved with this particular relationship marketing, network marketing company. Anyway, we sat in front of Lenny Hayes, Stephen Baker, obviously, Robert Eddy, I think was the other one, and Jones, I think.
Jones,
yeah, Jonesy as well. So the 4 of them sat there. We knew Jonesy sort of was an entrepreneurial young guy. We knew that Lenny Hayes was a great leader. Robert Eddy's sort of a young, bubbly personality, and then you got Bakes.
The guy who they
All we knew about Bakes was he's just mad as a cut snake. That's all we knew about Bakes. But really, if you ask Bakes the story, he would say that all we were doing is presenting to Lenny Hayes because we thought he was the one. If we could get him on board, great leader, well respected. And a businessman too. So we thought, let's just, we didn't even realise at the time, but apparently we were presenting more to him than the other 3.
Yeah.
Bakes tells a story, he reckons he was swinging past on the vine in the background, the trapeze, doing flips, backflips and somersaults, and we couldn't see him, obviously exaggerating a little bit. But and that's what happened. In the end, Stephen was the only one that ended up getting involved and enrolling into the business. So that would have been 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
And since then, and it's really interesting how you don't prejudge when you introduce someone to network marketing because, the people you think will, won't, and the people you think won't, will. And it tends to happen, it happens time and time again, and the same happened with Stephen. Someone who we thought we were unsure about became the best networker that I've ever networked with, basically.
The juggernaut now,
isn't it? He's the ultimate networker. Yeah. So, and, he's self-taught, I'm supposed to be his mentor, and he's nearly become my mentor.
Yeah.
The way he's just so self-sufficient, and the way he does business, and the way he includes everybody and wants everyone to be successful has made him who he is.
That's enough about Bakes, I think.
Too much pump up for Bakes. You're not that good, actually. What am I talking about?
So we'll talk about our Jeunesse business. Obviously, you've got a thriving Jeunesse business.
Yeah.
So what do you think are the keys when people look at this video and they're thinking, okay, never been in business before, and the good thing is you don't have to. It's so cheap to join to get started. But what advice do you give them to get started?
Yeah, I think the absolute keys are just to keep it as simple as possible because some people just want to know everything, they want to learn everything overnight, and some people don't want to speak to people till they know everything. But what I would say is just put your everything and all your trust into the most dynamic leader in your upline. So find out who that is. If it's a person that enrolled you, great. If it might be someone who's 3 or 4 levels above you in the business, track them down and make them help you. Okay. Yeah, and look, if they see you with great energy and that you want to be successful, let me tell you, they'll bend over backwards. If they're a good leader, they'll bend over backwards to help you on your journey. What we do, obviously, as you know, we have steps 1, 2 and 3 in training we put people through. The critical things are getting a list of quality people you think that would be obviously well suited to the business and sitting down and simply get started on ringing those people and inviting them to an opportunity meeting or a phone call, with your upline. So just introducing them to your upline leader and get your upline leader to introduce them to the business and describe in detail what the business entails. So really you don't want to be doing anything when you start. You just want to invite, put people in front of your upline leader. That's all you got to do, and you learn on the job. You really do, and that's the great thing about and I know a couple of my friends at the moment are going through university, and they're smart people. They really are, and they're good at what they do, and they'll come out 5 or 6 years time with a degree, and they'll make a great career. But in the next 5 or 6 years is where I want to be setting myself up for life, and for my family. And that's a great thing about network marketing is you can teach yourself on the job, you can be taught on the job, and you learn as you go along.
And make money along the way.
And make money as you're doing it, spot on. So that's the great part about it. And you will make some mistakes. And where some people get it wrong is they're too impatient. They think it's going to happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to learn, you've got to make mistakes. People will reject you, people will say yes, and some people will keep you hanging for 6 months, which is annoying. But you take the good with the bad in this industry is when you find the good ones, things move quite quickly, but you've got to be consistent with your efforts, and eventually you'll find the people that you want to work with for the next 10 plus years. And they'll run with it and they'll go with you, and that's when it becomes really exciting, when you get a group of people that you want to work with that are all hungry and you're all making money together and having a good time along the way, and we're all doing it at our own pace. I call in this, or I don't call it. One of my guys that I enrolled, Jordan Doring, he calls it a very simple philosophy, but the self-paced business. Because some people go, I don't have time for this. Full time at work, I've got kids. It's self-paced, so if you don't do anything for 2 weeks, your business won't go anywhere. But then you find 2 hours on a Sunday, you can find 1 hour on a Friday, or 10 minutes in your lunch break. And if you're just consistent with doing what you can when you can have success. It doesn't matter what level of time you put in this business, you can still have success.
I'm going to just ask a couple more questions before we wrap up. You are very consistent, and you obviously don't need to be, because you've got a great business and a great lifestyle. What drives you? If we can sort of learn from you, how do you become that consistent?
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose as I've gotten a little bit older, the things that used to drive me were, I suppose, more selfish things than what they are now. When I first came out of footy, and looking back at it, I was probably scare factor is what got me into network marketing in a lot of ways. I was scared that I wasn't going to earn this much anymore. How am I going to sustain investments? Am I going to have that lifestyle that I had when I was playing footy? So scare factor got me into the network marketing industry in a lot of ways. And then I loved it once I got in it. But now my philosophy on my motivation on why for building this business has completely changed. Now it's about family. Obviously I've got 3 young kids. Everything that I do now is to put my family in a good position in life, so I can be at home with them as much as I can, spend a lot of time with them. But also, look, I'm a very competitive person. I want to be at the top of this compensation plan. I want to be able to be successful. I can, not just from a monetary point of view, but because I want to go, I made it. I did this. I challenged myself in life, and now I'm there. And I can take something away in life that I've tested myself and I've come out on top. So that's another thing. But you look at things like even the Mick Fanning thing last night. Where he nearly got eaten by a shark. He was that close to dying.
Puts things in perspective.
Puts things in perspective. I want to do something that I enjoy, so I can spend time with family, build a business with people that I love and respect, and that are friends of mine. We're on a journey together. We have fun. We travel together. We build a business. We make a lot of money, and then why would you want to go and work 8 till 6 and start all over again, stuck in traffic, highly strung. You get to your weekend. By the time you get to the weekend, you're exhausted.
You're burnt out.
You're burnt out, and then you probably get drunk on Saturday night and take half of Sunday to recover, and then you're back into it again on Monday. I couldn't do that, because having the luxury of playing AFL footy, doing something that I loved, meant that when I came out of it, how am I going to go work on the tools or sit behind a desk from 8 till 6 every day? I wasn't going to be able to do it. It just wasn't in my mindset. So that's why, I suppose life's short. You don't know what's around the corner. If someone said you've only got 2 years left in life, what would you do now? You still got to earn, but what would you do?
Mm.
You know, what would you do for work right now, and would you have 2 years off, or what would you do? Because, you know, what if that was to happen? You know, and you've spent 20 years working doing something you don't like, and you've wasted, you know, traded time for money, and then you get to the end of that, and what have you achieved?
Yeah.
You know, so
Paid your bills.
yeah, exactly right. So you know, a lot of people are starting to get it now. You see, with the emergence of social networking, people are really starting to see the value of lifestyle
balance
and businesses like this.
Yep.
You know, and being able to spend a all day Monday with your kids and a Wednesday and work 3 days this week. That stuff's starting to happen more and more all the time. You know, so it's becoming easy for us as networkers to recruit now, you know, because of that, and for other reasons as well. So, but, you know, I wouldn't have it any other way, mate. I love, you know, my lifestyle now. You know, I've coached through this period for 5 of the last 6 years. I've had, you know, I've done AFL player management for 18 months during that period, and obviously nutrition, personal training along the way, and, you know, and then had the 3 kids in between. So network marketing hasn't been
the be all and end all.
Full time. It's just been drip feeding, doing a little bit of time here
but
and there.
But you've been consistent.
But consistency is the key. And now, like, I've gone 8 months ago, I went full time. So I've gone, okay, I love coaching, but I love network marketing more, and it's got higher potential, and it's a better lifestyle for me in terms of what I can do with it. You know, obviously you're not going to push the kids aside, they'll still be there and the family. I don't want to do that because I love them very much. But, you know, everything else has been pushed aside just because I've seen massive potential. And it's probably not just because my own business has grown tenfold, but because I've seen Craig, my enroller, you know, become a diamond. Every diamond earns $1 million a year. So he's a diamond director now. Lyndon, who's one of my mentors along the way, especially early in the piece with Jeunesse, is now become number 39 highest income earner in the world, in network marketing in the world, you know.
Can I just, that's one thing I hope you guys hear this, because Brodie's obviously in a position now where he could do anything that he wants, and now you're going flat out, which isn't that a great, that's just a great sign. Just one more I want to ask you, actually 2 more, because I had someone wanted me to ask you a question, but one more was, a lot of people with AFL, we see that the way they train, but you look like from what I've seen and know of you, you've just kept going fitness-wise. Like you're really living it. Tell us, how do you keep how do you keep so driven? Because you're like a machine. I've seen it.
Yeah, look, it's how I made a living. It's keeping fit, you know. And I don't know how some footballers just retire and they just stop. That's all I've ever known, and I love keeping fit. I love keeping in good shape.
And you always include your family. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Seen Stella. Is it Sarita?
It's Sarita.
Sarita, your kids. Yeah. So you're always doing that.
Yeah, Sarita's, you know, we do a lot together. Obviously, you know, the business allows me to do that, but from a fitness point of view, the wife trains hard, I train hard. We like to keep active. The kids are doing tennis and you know, gymnastics and all that sort of stuff. So we like to keep active, and I think that's important, you know. In this day and age, you see how, you know, depression is just massive. And one of the big statistics says that, you know, fitness and diet have massive impact on, you know, depression issues. So I like to be clear in the mind, you know, and, you know, when I'm fit and I'm healthy, you feel great, you feel clear-minded, and, you know, you work the business so much better, and you thrive every time. You know, when you take these great products, you feel great.
Definitely.
And it makes you want to work even harder because you feel good 100% of the time.
We had a Dreaminator shake earlier.
Yeah, the Dreaminator. That was tasty.
Now I've got one more question for you, last question for you. Do you still dance?
No, I don't, mate. No, I don't. Yeah, so
we've got Dancing with the Stars on at the moment. So
it's just started up again. Yeah, look, Dancing with the Stars for me, that was 10 years ago now.
No way.
10 years, so it was a long time
we
ago.
We might have to get a bit of footage.
Yeah, get a bit of footage out, mate. Yeah. But great fun. Look, everyone asks me that. Well, the questions have stopped in recent years because people have started to forget that I actually did it. But no, I haven't really kept the dancing going at all. I've pretty much forgotten 90% of what I learnt, unfortunately. I'm sure I'd pick it up a lot quicker now, but had a great experience on Dancing with the Stars. That was one of the great things that I did through my footy careers and through mid-20s, being able to, I suppose, go on primetime TV when they were, I suppose, the views were up around 2 million people per show, and dance when I couldn't dance to save myself in front of that many people. When enjoyed, it's great for confidence, great for I suppose, learning to talk in front of the camera and things like that. So I just had a ball with it, and but no, I don't dance anymore, mate. I probably should have kept going, but when you got young kids and a business, you sort of it's hard to find the time sometimes. Yeah.
Thanks again, mate. That was awesome.
No worries, Benny.
I hope that's a little bit of a snippet into Mr. Consistent here, and hope you've had a good week and keep going.
Can I just say one thing before we finish? This guy is absolute great man to work with, and one of the great leaders in Jeunesse, Australia at the moment. And if you're watching and thinking, is Jeunesse for me, is Benny the right person to work with? He's 100% the right person to work with. So get in touch with him. He's a great man.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, mate. Good on you.
No worries.